All right, let's dive right in. Have you ever wondered how a massive global organization manages to steer itself through this constant sea of change and risk? I mean, it's one of the biggest challenges out there today, and we're about to break it all down.
So, really think about it. How does a sprawling organization, we're talking operations all over the world, not just stay afloat, but actually navigate towards its goals safely and effectively? And spoiler alert, it's not magic. It's actually a super carefully designed system of governance and risk management.
To really get a handle on all this, let's use a simple but powerful analogy. Let's just imagine the organization is this huge ship on a really critical journey. It's got a destination, it's got a crew, and it has to navigate everything from calm seas to treacherous storms. This idea is going to be our guide as we see how all the different parts have to work together. Okay, first things first. Every single ship needs a solid structure and reliable tools before it can even think about leaving the port. For our organization, these are its core frameworks. They are the absolute foundation of the entire operation. So, if we look at the ship's manifest, you can see a whole suite of these essential parts. These are the core frameworks that give the ship its structure and guidance. We're going to dive into a couple of the key ones, like the quality framework and the finance manuals, but you can see there's a bunch of others here too. Things like the meal procedure for tracking progress and localization guidance for adapting to different waters. Every single one is a critical piece of the ship's hull. Let's start with the big one, the quality framework. I want you to think of this as the ship's actual hull, its fundamental structural integrity. It's all about mandatory policies and tools that standardize how things get done, no matter where in the world you are. This ensures every single action is strong, consistent, and high quality. So, if the quality framework is the hull, then the Each of Accountability framework is like the ship's advanced navigation system. This is what makes sure the vessel is always heading in the right direction. It does this by tying every action to real needs and potential risks, all while managing the ship's fuel, its finances, super wisely. And speaking of resources, you have to protect the cargo, right? That's where the finance and procurement manuals come in. They basically act as the ship's secure treasury. They lay out these strict, non-negotiable rules for managing all the supplies, protecting them from corruption, fraud, or just plain misuse. I mean, without that protection, the whole voyage is in jeopardy.
So, we've got this well-built ship, it's got top-notch instruments. But, a ship can't steer itself. You absolutely need a skilled crew at the helm. So now, let's meet the people who are actually responsible for steering this thing. On the bridge, you've really got two key leadership groups. On one side, you have the Board of Trustees. Think of them as the Admiralty back on shore. They're the ones setting the overall mission and the values for the journey. And then on the other side, you've got the Senior Leadership Team, or the SLT. They're the captain and the officers right there on the bridge, making all the day-to-day decisions to actually execute the voyage. Now, of course, no journey is ever completely smooth sailing. There are always dangers, storms on the horizon, hidden reefs, maybe even pirates. A good crew is constantly scanning that horizon. And that brings us to the active process of navigating those risky waters, risk management. And this isn't about just hoping for the best. No, it's a formal four-step process. First, you identify potential risks. That's like spotting a storm cloud way off in the distance. Then you analyze it. How big is it? Which way is it moving? Next, you evaluate its potential impact on your mission. And finally, and this part is so crucial, you constantly review what's happening and adjust your course. It's this continuous cycle of being vigilant. The crew isn't navigating by sight alone, of course. They've got sophisticated tools. The Global Risk Framework, that's their main navigational chart. The Proposal and Award Risk Tool, they call it PART, that's like a specialized radar that is mandatory for every new undertaking. And things like the Safeguarding and Counter-Fraud directories, those are like detailed logs of known hazards in very specific waters. So, let's pull it all together. We have the strong hull and instruments, we have the skilled captain and crew, and we have this active process for navigating danger. When you put all of that together, what do you get? Well, you get a system that's designed to do one thing and one thing only. Make sure the ship reaches its destination safely. This quote just brings it all home perfectly. The frameworks are the structural hull and the navigation instruments, while the governance teams are the captain and officers who are constantly monitoring that horizon for risks. It's this deep integration of systems and people that ensures that, no matter what the conditions are, the organization can reach its destination safely. And it really leaves us with a critical question to think about. How well is your own ship being steered?